Hello and welcome once again to the Long Ball Street podcast. We're live on YouTube and on the podcast audio version as well.
Yeah.
Matt, joined by you once again. You weren't there last week, so James had to fill in.
Yes, he's capable. I mean, he's a good size, isn't he? We're different sizes,
Fits in.
But he's more square than me.
Yes,
but he fits in nicely. I would say.
Well, what's interesting about it is because we still need that championship offering. You know.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I was saying to James, it's really admirable that he, supports grassroots football, and supports these small teams. I mean, he probably in some way dreams about one day getting up there with us big dogs.
Yeah.
But it'll never happen.
Probably not for them.
Not for them. I mean, they're a small club, aren't they? And in the Prem, you just massive, aren't we?
QPR they did win their first game of the season 2-0.
That's right. Yeah.
You don't,
Against.
That's all right. You don't watch the Championship.
What league are they in now?
I think they're in the Championship.
I thought they were.
Is there one called the Championship?
I think there might be. I'm sure I've seen that on.
Pretty sure it's Championship, and I think there's something called League One.
Sounds.
I think there might be.
Sounds really small time.
Weird. It's like weird.
Yeah.
It sounds like a
imagine being in that.
And they won, and I was on the Stag. We mentioned it on the podcast last week. James is Stag. He's getting married, and
did he get stuck in?
He loved it. He loved it. A couple of his mates are Brentford, and he did not let up for 6 or 7 hours. He kept just getting quiet, and everyone would be talking about other scenes, and he'd make up mock headlines that would appear in papers like Brentford reeling again after 7th straight defeat.
Right, just
out of nowhere.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Bless him. He who did they beat QPR? Sorry, do you know?
Can't remember.
Some strange club.
Yeah.
Obscure.
No, they won 2-0.
Well, that's good. But yeah, so that's good. I did see some pictures on social media of James semi-naked.
Lederhausen.
Yeah, Lederhausen.
Yeah.
And it was also a gay pride, wasn't it, when you were out there?
Yeah, we didn't know it was gay pride, and there's nothing wrong with that. If we did know it was gay pride, we'd happily gone there, probably doubly so.
Yeah.
So there's no issue in that.
Wouldn't have packed as much, would you?
I was packing. It was something. No, anyway, there was a lot of sausage around,
of course,
like everywhere. First. But it was great. It was great fun. It added an extra dimension to the Stag Do. Obviously, Pride is always a lot of fun. I don't know if anyone's out there has been to Pride or they're open to that, but you could definitely go down and stick around till about 8 o'clock at night, where the mood turns somewhat. But up until that point, everything's cool. And
did James? Because he's a pretty boy, isn't he? He must attract. There must be some guys out there that'd be delighted to. If you were gonna get a guy, James would be high up on a lot of lists.
It's safe to say that James was rated. In the gay community.
I love that,
and as were a few of his mates as well. So I mean, it's fine. It's good. It's a part of the fun.
What about you?
Did
you pull?
I mean, none of us pulled. It was just. Look, there was a couple of people. A couple of men sniffing around.
Sniffing around.
It was
just
no.
Just like scrappy wood.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like that. But it was good, and we had a great time.
Right.
And, thank you to Hamburg. There's lots of stuff we could say, but
awesome.
Need to get permission first. Football's back. Football is back. I mean, it's back already. To be fair, the Championship, League One, League Two, Conference. They've all been playing football this weekend,
and it never fully goes away, does it?
It doesn't feel like it this year. This summer,
but this is it now, isn't it? The best league in the world. The most amazing, the nirvana of football, all those 20 big clubs going head to head. I mean, just to put it into context, there's teams like Leeds United that can't get into this Premier League. It's like an exclusive club. Sheffield Wednesday, no matter how massive they are, they can't. Do you think I've changed?
Yeah, somewhat. I just, it's nice that you're so excited. I mean, you're still displaying elements of small fan syndrome.
Yeah, well, I am.
Which gets thrown around. No, it gets thrown around to everybody.
Mate, we have had that terribly. So we did a kit launch, right, and it was embarrassing. I mean, I love my football club, but I'm not incapable of criticising them or critical thought, right? As most people should be, but some people aren't. Yeah. But we did the most poniest kit launch ever. And it was basically Huddersfield train station, which is not known for being the most beautiful of train stations in the world. It's just a building.
Yeah.
And we had this like plastic kits kind of just stuck on this thing, and it's just the sign said "We are Premier League," and I was like, nothing quite says "We are Premier League" more than having to stick your kit on a train station and say "We are Premier League."
Yeah.
But
Spurs actually for once did a good job with their kit launch this year.
What did you do?
So we had a grime show with AJ Tracy.
Okay.
About
twisting it all like
midnight in Tottenham.
Wow.
And there was 150 Spurs fans invited. It was a launch of his new song False Nine.
Right.
He had the new Spurs kit on, so it was really kind of on the pulse as much as a company around that size could be.
Yeah.
So that was quite impressive.
AJ Tracy is pretty pretty recent in terms of getting.
And then we managed to release the cringiest launch video associated with it, which came later, the next day, in fact, and destroy all the good work that they'd done.
Wow, what was that?
It was like something out the 80s, and Bearded Genius, or Noradine, he works editorial for Joe.
Oh.
He replaced AJ's track with Top Gun, the Top Gun music, and it worked perfectly. It was very kind of homoerotic, very kind of like slow motions from you know when they used to jump up topless. And for those, Top Gun was a very cheesy film in the 80s about Tom Cruise flying around as a fighter pilot. And one of the cutscenes in this film is
They play beach volleyball.
Playing beach volleyball, and they are ripped and they are sweaty.
Yeah.
And they're doing serves of volleyball. It was like that.
Slow-mo.
Exactly. Slow-mo actions of football.
Right.
With the new kit. And, so it wasn't great.
I quite like your new kit though.
Yeah, it's all right. It's just a template from all of the night kits. So all of the night kits around the world are exactly the same, more or less, but just have different colourways.
Our kits have been a bit shit.
Who's your kit maker?
Puma
is a second-rate kit maker.
Yeah,
that's why I asked.
But we've got. I mean, the thing is, and this is what is interesting, right? Is because we've gone from being that fourth lowest budget in the league, and we've had to go. We had no right to get out of the Championship. You know, all that arrogance before was just a joke, right? You know what I'm really like, and we had no right to get into this league, and we're up there, and it's like shit. But the amount of stuff that the club, when you think about it, has to go through, the transformation to go from that to up there, and it's a short space of time as well. So A, the players, but B, the kits, the commercial deals that come with that like we're going from, like, you could walk up and pay on the gate at pretty much any Huddersfield game. We had 20,000 average crowd last season, so it's not like it's totally small, but away from home pretty much you can, personally I would just decide the day before, I'm going to go to Brentford or Ipswich or whatever, and you go and you just pay on the gate, and that's all changed. So we've had to introduce all these ballots, or all these ways of ranking the priorities of people to give them priorities for away travel. The whole supporter is in a bit of, a lot of people are pissed off because a lot of people like me have been spending their life going to away games and not buying a season ticket as such. But I guess that this is the whole thing, because the world's been transforming as well. Only certain data is really available, and the only data that's available is the things that you buy through the club.
Of course.
So you're paid on the gate. You could prove it, but manually I'd have to go and get my petrol receipts from this, from that, maybe an odd picture of me in the stadium, and you'd have to build a bespoke case. You can't do that at scale. You can't do that at scale in a short space of time. So the club's had a lot of transformation to make to get ready.
Well, I'm interested about what you said about the fans reacting quite badly. In what way? What have they been saying?
Well, so there's people that have been supporting Huddersfield for years and years and years and years and years, and have been going when we're in administration, from Crewe away on Boxing Day to Darlington away. Like these matches that have happened over the years. And then we've all of a sudden got up and got promoted, and maybe they haven't got a season ticket or a history of a season ticket, and therefore now the people that have got the history of season tickets are the ones that are getting priority for away travel. So away travel, and everyone's on a bit of a buzz. Everyone's going to want to go, especially United, Tottenham, Arsenal, City, Liverpool, all these big games, right? People are going to want to go, but they've had to say that, and you only get 10% or or 3,000 as a maximum cap.
That's right.
So that will sell out, I think, most away games this year, really. But they're given to priority 1 who get the first dibs, then it's priority 2, then it's priority 3, and it's all based on what data they've got on your history as a fan.
How else are they going to do it, though?
I'm not saying it's wrong. I understand that it's difficult circumstances and there's a finite period of time at which they've got to action that. But the point is, this is what people are pissed off about, because say we've been going to the games together, and now you're a priority 1, I'm a priority 4. It's difficult for us to do that now because I might not get a ticket, you might. So it's just made everything really different.
No,
and it's creating conflict because there's those fans that are going, "Which Premier League football? It's the price of Premier League football," and actually. But there's people that have priority 1 that have been a bit smug about it and winding people up.
Right.
And I just think that actually, really, when you think about it, when I've been going away all these years, and even when there's like 400 people there, it's those guys that turn up every single week, that bring the atmosphere, they take cans on the train, they create a bit of a buzz, they're proud of their city.
Yeah.
These are the real. That's what
you need to carry on.
The core of that fan kind is. You know, they know the songs, they know the history, and then if you do get these people that are jumping on the bandwagon now and are kind of getting tickets, do you lose someone out? So I'm slightly worried about someone else. But it has been a bit of a problem for the club.
Yeah, I mean, those fans that are actually gloating the fact that they can go, that's bang out of order.
Yeah, it's just patronage. It's just people being a bit smug, I think.
Well, why would you want to dig out your own fans and make them feel worse?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one of those things.
People are weird like that.
People are weird.
And I'm not slagging off the club. I understand both sides of it, and I think it's almost like a winless situation. But there's been a big transformation, and it comes down to Saturday now. We're at Crystal Palace.
Yes, you are. Actually, now, final question on Huddersfield. Now your colours to the mast, are you staying up?
Mate, it's an impossible. Like, if you asked me yesterday, I'd have gone no.
Yeah.
If you asked me the day before, I'd have gone yeah. I kind of flip-flop. Can we stay up? Yeah, absolutely. I think the manager could be the difference, but it's hard, mate. Like, it's a really hard. We need that bit of luck too.
It's not that hard.
It is.
I finished second. It's quite easy, really.
You finished second. I think it's going to be very difficult for us. I'm probably just going to say, yeah, we can stay up.
Yeah.
Will we? I don't know, mate. But we can do.
We'll see. All right, those people who are here have seen the Liverpool bound for Van Dijk hands in transfer request title on YouTube. We are going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about the new penalty system, the ABBA system that was trialled at the Community Shield. Obviously got Van Dijk, we've got Mourinho goes mental on social media, and some questions and whatnot. We also touch on McGregor and Malignaggi if we have time. Obviously it's just fascinating scenario at the moment. It's almost like McGregor, Malignaggi.
Mate, it's amazing. So quick before I jump in though, Spurs, mate, like, are you, because it's the start of your season too, are you can you go one better than second?
No, we can't.
Definitely not.
No, we haven't bought a single player.
Yeah.
We sold Kyle Walker. We are playing at Wembley, which is almost giving up your home advantage.
That's the thing, isn't it?
If we finish second in this season, I know a lot of people will still dig Pochettino out for not winning anything, providing we don't win a cup. That is an insane achievement. It is. You are giving up a lot by not playing at White Hart Lane, and it's thrown upon us. We have to do it. We have to build a new stadium. I've said it all before. So, winning the league is so difficult. There's like 4 or 5 really good teams that can win it. So,
what season tickets will you get this? How many have you sold?
So we've sold all of our season tickets.
How many is that? Because now at Wembley, obviously, capacity is bigger, right?
Yeah, I think it's between 40 and 50, something like 50, maybe 50,000 season tickets. I can't remember. Sorry,
so what will the crowd be in there then? Like, is he just not going to be full? Do they not open the top tier? Because away fans, I was like, amazing. I'll definitely get to that. 3,000 tickets.
Yeah, it's just it's like a cap, isn't it? No, they do. They've got 90,000 for every game, the whole stadium. There's still tickets left for the Chelsea game, right. So it's going to be tough to sell it out. It's all about cash, money. So it's not matter to the club if there are sporadic seats in the top tier. Yeah. The first 2 tiers will be sold out every single game because that's around 53,000, right. I'd imagine. So. Okay. Yes, look, it's an interesting thing. I watched back, this is going to sound sad, but I watched back the Spurs-Arsenal game and we beat them 2-0, and Dele Alli and Harry Kane scored 2 goals in like 2 minutes. Last game, North London derby. And it made me so sad, like watching it and not having White Hart Lane anymore. It was so loud.
Yeah.
It was definitely in that ground at times.
It's terrible leaving that stadium. But you know, I guess after a few games, maybe you'll get used to it, and actually they'll just start to click, and it'll start to feel like home.
Hopefully.
Let's just do a quick top 4, bottom 3. Go on.
I think it will be. I think it will be Man United will win the league.
Really?
I think Manchester City will finish second. I think Chelsea will finish third, and Spurs will finish fourth.
So Arsenal out of the top 4.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll do mine. I actually think that the only team that's probably going to have the consistency, because when you win leagues, it's about consistency, it's been about hard to beat, and it's about being able to score goals. I think that's going to be Chelsea again. Really? Yeah, I think that they're the only one that's got it. I think United and that are getting nearer. City, I don't know, mate. I just can't see that happening for them. So I'm actually going to go Chelsea, Spurs, and then I'm going to go for... I'm just going to make up 2 more. I'm going to go City, and then Man U. Man U, then City.
Right.
Yeah, that's mine. Bottom 3. And in fact, tell us if you are watching this on YouTube rather than listen to it on iTunes, tell us your top 4 bottom 3s below.
I'll read some out as well. So I think the bottom will be, I think Brighton will go. I think Stoke will go.
Stoke.
And I really...
You can say us, by the way, like fucking everyone else has it. Doesn't matter.
No, I don't know. I think...
Just fucking say it, alright? Say it.
I will not say it because I do not believe it.
Okay.
I'm going to say Newcastle.
Newcastle?
Because I hate them. So that's it really, that's the end.
Okay. Do you know what, bottom 3, I don't even know. I think Stoke's an interest. I don't think I could even name all the teams in the Premier League, by the way. But I think it's Stoke. Stoke's quite a good shout because maybe it's just coming to a bit of an end for them.
Yeah.
I think Stoke might be in trouble.
I spoke to a couple of their fans over the weekend, and they feel.
Will help.
So
I'm going to say Huddersfield.
No, you don't say Huddersfield.
I'm going to say Huddersfield.
Watford are a shout,
Watford. That was what I was going to say.
Watford.
So I'm going for Watford.
Their manager, the whole manager's...
In fact, fuck it, Brighton. They've not strengthened that much. I don't think that they're as good as they think that they were last year. And they got there by having a solid defence. But I don't see them upgrading that much, apart from Izzy Brown. So I think Brighton. So I think it's 4 of Brighton, Watford, Stoke and Huddersfield. But Brighton are down. You heard it here. This
is what some of the people out there think. City, United, Liverpool and Chelsea, says Sam Greaves. High on Roberts says Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool and Spurs. Chrome EU says please do a longer podcast today. That's not what we asked for. Thank you though. Mujib Ahmed says City, United, Chelsea and Arsenal. So a lot of I mean what it shows actually more than anything is that the competition is so fierce. You know, Spurs could easily finish outside the top 4, as could any of those teams. Really, and the fact that Arsenal, if they click on, they're going to crack on. Rather, they're going to be in with a good shout. And Liverpool, you know, you can't write them out. And Everton have spent big, so it's massive. There are genuinely 7 forces in the Premier League this season, and you know, it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. I just I worry somewhat about how big that gap between the top 7 and the rest of the Premier League becomes.
Yeah, and you know, I think that the football gods hopefully listen to that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I think.
25 years since the Premier League started. 25 years this season.
Is that right? 25.
Wow. Yeah. So we was wondering about some of the best moments that has been since the Premier League formed, and I've got a list here, and we're going to ask for yours at the end of the show, but and chip in at all if you want to talk about any of these. But Beckham's halfway line goal against Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Incredible goal. Wayne Rooney's debut goal for Everton.
That was good, yeah.
Against Arsenal.
Because that's always the ones that I really like best in that regard. It's when it's the kid. Whenever there's a young kid coming through, I'm pretty much 99 times out of 100 behind them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I loved? Even though it's Leeds, I loved Alan Smith when Alan Smith came in and was scoring.
Yeah.
And I love that he was a young kid. And one of my favourite Premier League moments, and it might have even been the FA Cup, I don't know. But do you know when they played Arsenal? And there was Keown and Bold and these guys, and he was scrapping with them, and just getting stuck in. And that Arsenal defence was so intimidating, and I was just like, you just saw this young kid just fucking fighting for it. And I was like, go on,
getting
son.
in amongst it.
I love that. Yeah, that's up there for me.
He was. I remember liking him a lot, and then he kind of reverted to midfield, and then he got me cracked on from there as well.
But what was that like? Yeah, he did, but like
lost a bit of
Man
pace.
United made him Roy Keane, and it was just like
he had a really bad leg break injury.
Right.
Do you remember? It was horrendous. And,
no, I don't remember that.
And I think he kind of lost some of that explosive pace that he would have had at the beginning. Wayne Rooney, fun fact, was on £80 a week when he scored that goal against Arsenal.
Really?
It's a curling free kick, if I remember rightly.
No, what a free kick.
Was it not? It's just it did curl into the top.
Yeah, I think he'd kind of cut inside and he'd little dribble turn and then he just lamped it, but it would definitely want a free kick.
Suarez biting even in Ivanovic.
Just another day for Suarez, wasn't it? Just another day, another bite.
Keegan's rant against Man United.
That was that's a great Premier League moment.
So Newcastle were fallen behind. They were 15 points ahead of United to win the league. I think for the first time in their history. And that might not be true actually, but they were 15 points ahead and they fell apart. And in one of the few final interviews after the game, Keegan lost his rag with Fergie.
Yeah.
Fergie had been playing his mind games.
Yeah, but that was typical Keegan as a manager. It was like he didn't have. You've got to be. Ultimately, they're the managers. That's war as well. And Fergie, I think, got that before anybody else did. So the way that he would respond to it, and obviously Mourinho's become amazing at it. The things that you say there aren't necessarily the truth. For you're doing it to help manage this situation and to protect that team. You're almost as the boss. You're a buffer between them and the real world.
Yeah, for sure.
And Keegan, man, just kind of lost it. 'Cause he was a shit England manager. I loved him as a player and as a personality, but not a great manager. But that was one of the best, most iconic rants, because so often we're used to seeing them, aren't we?
Yeah.
Being behind that. They're saying lines.
It's like a veneer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a veneer. And players as well. They're going, oh yeah, I did score, but you know, as long as the team win, just the way they answer these fucking questions, it's so dull. And that was a real man losing his shit, which we can all relate to that, you know.
I mean, I'd hope it never happens to me on camera, but it was horrendous. But you know, he had those massive cans on as well. Do you remember? Anyway, Cantona karate kick on fan at Palace.
God, that was amazing.
Yeah, it was like you.
How did he get away with that?
Well, he done a 10-game ban or something
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, but 10-game ban for that. What?
He was. How did he
get away with that?
He was called. Apparently the geezer said "fuck off back to France, you French," and do you know what?
It's all right.
On a pitch or elsewhere,
I've heard worse.
You've got to stand up to what words that comes out your mouth.
What happened? And I'm sure everyone's seen this, but just in case you haven't, right? Cantona ran and karate kicked the crowd. He got sent off, and on his way off the pitch, he karate kicked the crowd. That's fucking brilliant.
Insane, isn't it?
It's brilliant. People don't seem to lose their shit like they did anymore. Do you remember McEnroe playing tennis? Yeah, mate. McEnroe used to go on these rants, and he would just be getting wound up. He'd just be having like a 5 minute just walking around, and he'd start throwing his racket. You cannot be serious. Yeah. Amazing when people lose their shit.
Banned though. That's the problem now. They come down so because the people that run the game don't really get anything from that.
All right, as fans, that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is why I think people, and I've said this probably a bunch of times, this is why people relate more to YouTubers nowadays. That's why people relate more to the True Geordie than they do to Alan Shearer. That's why they relate more to, I don't know, DT than they do Alan Smith or someone like that. Now, DT's never played any games for Arsenal, but he's a real human being that gives his real view, and you see that, and people connect with that stuff. And this is why traditional media is struggling so much, because they're still operating behind the TV and behind that veneer and trying to present a presentation of it rather than the truth. And what you want to hear, if you've got Jose Mourinho there with a microphone in his face after the match, what I want to say is, Mourinho, how did you feel about that sending off
I fucking hated it. The geezer's a scumbag. He dived. He shouldn't have been sent off. That's what I want to hear.
Exactly. Rather than,
well, sometimes you can't do something like that.
Exactly. And this is what's happening.
Yeah, it is. And actually, when we do stuff with Premier League footballers, and we've interviewed a few on the Bull Street, it doesn't do it anywhere near as well as it does where, you see, like you said, on Arsenal Fan TV, I think, whatever you say, emotion, regardless of where it comes from, emotion is captivating when you're a supporter, but just as a human being. Aguero!
Yeah.
Last minute.
Yeah.
It's just what it did to Man United, which was fantastic as well. It would have been funny the other way around as well. But the fact that QPR stayed up and the fact that Man City won the league after the Man United fans and players were celebrating because their game had finished, and for Aguero to snatch that away from your rivals and heap all of the glory on yourselves and to do that for you, there was something incredible. That was a good moment. Probably be my non-partisan moment.
That was a good moment.
Premier League. Loads more. Phil Brown team talk. The 4-3 filler at Liverpool. There's tons, absolutely tons. I don't want to take them more. At the end of the show, we're going to ask for yours and read them out.
Feel free if you sorry.
Well, we might miss loads is all I was saying.
That's true.
So new penalty system was trialled at the Community Shield last weekend, which Arsenal won. So the system that's used previously, that has been the mainstay since time memoriam, was that each team take one penalty each, and until you've scored more penalties than the other person, it goes to sudden death if both people score or miss the same amount.
A, B.
Exactly. But the problem with that system is statistics over all of those years have proven that it should you think 50-50, wouldn't you? But it isn't.
Maybe, yeah.
It isn't. The team that shoots first, 60% of the time go through.
So this is why we have a fucking coin toss.
All right.
Of course it is. That's why you have a coin toss, right?
But that means you get a benefit by luck.
But that's why you have a coin toss. It's not luck, is it?
Yeah.
Tails never fails. Everyone knows that.
That's true. I didn't think of that. You're right. Yeah, you're right. So this new system is designed to make it as fair as possible. It's called the ABBA, which is obviously first Team A takes first, then Team B takes twice, and then it goes back to Team A twice and Team B twice.
Mamma mia.
Here we go again.
I mean, the thing about a penalty shootout is the winner takes it all.
Wow. Any more? That is incredible.
A couple. I mean, the thing. Okay, so I guess at a coin toss, you just got to take a chance on me.
One more. Go on.
Knowing me, knowing you.
Aha. ABBA.
Yeah. So this is okay. So personally, I don't give a fuck. I think it's all right. I think penalty shootouts. It doesn't come down to who takes it first, right? Because otherwise, then it'd be 100% of it like that. What it comes down to, it's about how you handle the pressure.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to. It's about doing that under pressure. Simple as that.
There's also, you get the choice of which end. So you get to choose to shoot first or which end.
So that's another variable.
Yeah. Although if you're playing at a home game in a cup, both ends generally have away fans. Certainly at Tottenham they do.
But so when I'm thinking about the last penalty shootout I was in at Wembley, and there was sides of the stadium, so they won the coin toss. I think they went first. We had the penalties at our end. That's a leveler for me. So and we won the penalty shootout, obviously.
There you go.
So I don't know. I think. Do you have a passionate view on this, or?
I'm a kind of a traditionalist. I like things the way they are. It's. I think it's a bit of a shame that it's changed. I like it. It's a bit odd. You've got here's yours. We're taking mine, and then you've got to wait another 3 penalties till you get to go again. And I actually think the pressure of say if they score 2, the increased pressure to get to score your next 2 is significant, especially if one missed and then. Yeah. So I don't think it will solve the problem. I think
no. It feels like. To me, it's like whatever the way is, it's just how they're going to do it. It doesn't really affect us too much, does it, as human beings or as fans? But if, and actually, like it's almost like I more about it, which is the correct order of the penalties. It's more like, is penalties the way? Because it's what is clear is that in those games, I think you want to be having a system in place that just encourages people to attack. Because so many games that go on, you see there's one team that's defending, that's playing for penalties, or you get to a stage where they're both almost scared to lose rather than both trying to win. And penalty shootouts, it's a coin toss. So I think that if you're gonna, maybe what they're doing with this whole ABBA thing is they're playing with the format and not actually changing the game that much. You know, what we're gonna have another stats going, oh, it's 50 or it's 40 or it's 30 or whatever percent, don't matter. I'd almost think like, where's that answer that actually gives a fair way of dividing two teams rather than it just being penalties? Because penalties, it does give you drama, but it always feels for me like a bit of an anti-climax in a way.
So the only time I would definitely 100% watch a football match or a proportion of a football match
is if you know it's going to be penalties,
regardless of who's in it. Like I could be watching the Aylesbury Ducks play Braintree, and if there's penalties, I probably would sit down and watch it. There is just something about it.
Yeah, you would, I guess, but equally, if you saw a really bad tackle, you'd probably sit and watch that to see what happened, or like if there was a, you know, I mean, look, mate, I don't know. Maybe you're right. I just kind of always personally just feel that penalties are a bit of a sad way to separate two great teams. And for the, you know, it's like for Huddersfield, we got promoted on penalties. I know we're in the Prem and we won the prize, but is that as good a victory as winning that in normal time? No. I'd rather have won it than have just not lost. It's like Mayweather at boxing. Yeah, fine, you can box someone and you can beat them on points of a 12th round, but for me, if you're fighting, you're actually trying to win the fight. You're trying to beat the other guy rather than
is it your agenda
outscore him. It's not my agenda. I just think that with this sport, it's fucking entertainment too. I want to see a winner, not a best drawer.
All right,
get me?
I'll just offer Mayweather's angle on that. Is that?
Oh right, now we are talking about this. Go on then.
Should we go into this, and then I promise you we're going to do the Liverpool Van Dijk stuff.
All right.
So McGregor. But Mayweather, what you remember is he started 5 divisions below where he was, and he used to have power, but carrying up against bigger men.
Of course he is. He grows as a man. What time did he start boxing? 18. You're probably about 5 weight classes bigger than you were at 18. So what we're going to do? Fucking give him a fucking high five for that?
Well, give him a bye for a little bit.
Sorry, I'm just feeling it great. Go on.
His powers has left him somewhat, although he did knock out Ricky Hatton, which was not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Unless you're Pacquiao.
But knockouts don't come though, do they? Just from it's about power. There's other things that are a part of that moment, and one of those is if you don't see it coming, that's the strike.
Yeah, like a
because sometimes people can just give you it's not a hard punch necessarily, but it's because you haven't seen it that it catches you. Your brain can't process. Whereas if you see it coming, your brain's aware that you're going to get an impact there.
What's amazing about this, a boxer called Lomachenko, who
fought the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He won again, but the way he engineers his body and he gets himself in a position to throw punches where the other fighter can't see it. It's like watching someone in the Matrix. It's incredible. If you get into boxing after watching Mayweather and McGregor, go and watch Lomachenko fight. It's incredible. It's like Neo out of the Matrix.
Is he the best right now then?
No, he hasn't. He's only had 10 fights, so but I think technically he's going to be the best boxer in the world.
Wow.
But we'll see. So yeah, there's this stuff about the Malignaggi thing. Yeah. So it started with him calling out McGregor, saying he beat him with one hand, and you know.
Yeah. So this goes way back.
Yeah.
This goes way back because obviously there's been quite a lot of this talk about boxing and MMA for quite a long time since it like rose to prominence.
Sorry, someone just said in the comments who would win the fight between Matt and Flav, and no one's saying me. They're all saying Matt.
We would never do it.
No, we wouldn't do it. I mean, who put that
we'll
question out?
Fight you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Oh, Charlie did it.
Put it out. You're trying to drive a wedge between us. Is that what it is?
He's creating conflict.
Well, he's creating engagement. That's what you're doing. Good job.
Well done. Charlie can.
Sorry, what was he saying? Yeah, it went back a long time.
Yeah, so there's always been this chat about boxers, and actually it's happened before, but James Toney went and fought Randy Couture in the UFC. He went and fought in the octagon, and everybody, and he was insulting MMA guys, and everyone knew it'd take 20 seconds for Randy Couture to get an hand on him, pull him to the floor, and then he was in a world. It's like a fish on land.
Is that more or less what happened?
That's what happened, yeah. So he beat him. It must have taken a couple of minutes. Just got him there, a bit of ground and pound, and it was over. So they've had people like Amir Khan who a bunch of times have spoke about it, and I think that Conor spoke obviously about fighting Floyd and doing that kind of stuff. And so Paulie Malignaggi, which I never get that right. He basically got asked, your TMZ style got asked, and basically was really rude about Conor and was saying that Conor would have no chance. It was like a hockey player going and playing this. He went down that route quite early, and he said I'd slap the beard off him and things like that. One hand tied behind my back. So it started from there. Then obviously this super fights happened with Mayweather, or it's got made, and within that, Paulie works for Showtime. I'm just going to stop saying his surname. He works for Showtime, so he's obviously commenting on the fight a lot now. Now, in Conor's, as this has been, he's been following around the world tour. Conor said a few things about him, but coming up to the fight, what Conor's done is he's got Paulie to come now and help him spar, be one of his sparring partners. And given that he's fought at world level, he's fought, like I saw him fight Hatton in Vegas actually.
That's right. Yeah. They had to, do you remember he had big long dreads, and they had to cut off his dreads because they were just.
Was that in that fight?
Yeah, I think it was against.
Right,
Hatton,
I don't remember that, but I'll be honest. I got to Vegas and went pretty hard, and I hadn't gone to sleep by then, so I was sitting at the fight just watching it through one eye, just thinking, can't wait to go to bed. I had oxygen later, but they have oxygen bars there. Anyway, so yes, so he went to his fight. He went to spar with Conor. And for somehow now, this Mayweather versus McGregor has actually just become all about Paulie. So he's played a blinder because he's gone in, he's sparred. Connor's put out a couple of pictures, which is what you'd expect because
it was. So the Conor camp said it was leaked, wasn't it? Though it wasn't like.
No, I think that there was actually a tweet
it definitely
from
came out of
Conor McGregor, but he obviously doesn't do. He's got a team, right? Yeah. But there was a picture of him, and there was a couple of pictures that come out, and Connor's obviously. It's written as if he's knocked him down, and I think that what Malignaggi thinks is that he's it's a push down in training.
Yeah. So he's not. He's saying that it's
making out to be more than it is.
The kind of picture speaks 1,000 words type thing, isn't it? And,
exactly.
But
So then he's left that training camp, and he said, "I'm pissed off because you're taking something that's slightly out of context, and why don't you put up the entire 12 rounds of sparring because that shows the real story."
Yeah.
Now, I'm starting to think here that is this actually as obvious as it looks?
Right.
That there's two guys who've had this thing, they hate each other, they've both been laying into each other a little bit, and this is Conor's been arrogant and therefore he's entitled to go and do this thing, and is that, or is Malignaggi actually gone in with this intent? Because he's the one that's gaining.
Yeah, I mean, you admire that to some degree, isn't it?
I'm not saying I admire it. All I'm saying is it's a practice.
It's building an audience that's valuable.
He's definitely generating. What he's done is that this fight, Conor's audience is huge. Mayweather's audience is huge. The press tour for this is huge. The viewing public is going to be the biggest ever. This is the biggest fight that they've ever had. Yeah. I'm not sure it'll ever be beaten, right? And Malignaggi has basically managed to start to siphon off that interest to fucking build his own. His socials going like that.
He's eating.
He's in every magazine. Yeah. He's in every magazine. He's doing interviews left, right, and centre. He's like, yeah, I'll give you the full lowdown on my podcast. Check that out. Cha-ching. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's basically doing every interview possible, and now the whole fight has become about him. So he's played a blinder actually, because this fight between two people is actually now there's a third person involved.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
For sure.
He's running off with the bride.
Which you see an opportunity, you take it in the business
exactly,
world.
Yeah.
But he's not going to fight again, so he needs to build an audience somehow.
But it's very interesting. You've got, it's very interesting, and I don't know if this footage is ever going to come out. But I mean, I'm super interested. I'm not sure everyone is, but I'm super interested in this whole fight, and just with the it's just fucking interesting.
For those that don't know as well, and part of the reason why Malignaggi was so angry at this coming out is that there's an unwritten rule in boxing is that you never talk about your sparring.
That's right.
Because when you're sparring, you're training on you're not training to go in and knock the sparring partner out. You're working on defence. You bring in Malignaggi.
You're employed to help them, right?
Yeah. So Malignaggi would have been brought in because he's difficult to hit. Yeah. Because he doesn't have the punching power to hurt someone. Yeah. So a lot of boxers would have to try and walk through him.
Yeah,
and so he had to rely on being evasive because
and Conor said there's similarities between him and Mayweather.
There would be to some degree in the way they move, in the and just their mental state that neither want to get hit. So they're definitely in that aspect as well. He would have. Malignaggi was like the gatekeeper to world level. Right. People knew it was a safe fight with him because he weren't knocking anyone out. He had 4 knockouts in his entire career. So he had to learn about a lot of things defensively. So McGregor would have gone in there. Can I hit him? Can I hit him? And if I can, then that's maybe something I can build on when going into Mayweather. Yeah. So even if you see the 12 round spar between the two, it's not going to tell you much about either fighter because it's not what ends up happening in the ring. Right. So the unwritten rule is you don't talk about what happens in sparring because you can then talk some sort of shit and things get built up.
But he has, and he's now saying that he's doing that because and he's not been paid, and because of that picture and about ethics. Been paid. Well, he's saying he hasn't been paid, but he's walked out. So I don't know if you pay people up front or you pay him afterwards. I mean, Mayweather's training for his fight. I'm sure he's good for the money. But it feels a bit like a bitch move from Paulie. That said, and this is where so I've been invested in Conor McGregor from the start. Before he was even in the UFC, I was aware of him. He used to go to podcasts that I used to listen to with a guy from ESPN and Gareth A. Davis, so I knew Conor before he was I was looking forward to Conor's first fight in the UFC because I always wanted a British, I know he's Irish, but a local fighter to kind of go on and do something big, right? So I was invested in Conor. He was a two weight champion at Cage Warriors. So I've been into Conor from the start. I'm not one of these people that's jumping on this now and going, oh God, McGregor, Mayweather. Yeah. I've been behind this guy for a long time. So I'm excited, but I am really, I've been breaking it down in my mind and thinking about it. There's no way. Would
you be upset? Would it bother you if he lost us on points?
I think if he lost on points, that'd be good.
You can't lose.
I want him.
You can't lose if you're him though, can you?
Conor.
Yeah.
I think that maybe,
unless he gets knocked out.
Well, that whole mainstream media about. I mean, you've seen it, right? You've seen it with UFC. People like Ronda Rousey have gone on, and even Conor, right? When he lost his first fight to Nate Diaz, the reaction that you get from social media and from these people that don't know much about the sport, when someone gets head kicked, knocked out or choked out, they act like they're a quitter or a pussy or whatever. And the whole way that headlines happen and social media happens, I don't really like that side of it, because anyone that's going in the octagon is brave, and they're fighting killers. They're fighting people that are fucking skilled and trained at all kinds of techniques, and there's so many different things you have to be careful of, right? And there's so many things that influence, and tactically and whatever, to the stage where I think sometimes the criticism that people get when they've had a big loss, it's unfair, and that can therefore damage their brand somewhat. So I can see if Conor does get humiliated by Floyd, which I actually think could happen, then I think that him then going back to the UFC, he might go back a little bit he's made his cash, brilliant, but I think it could affect his pulling power, and because all these people will be putting up memes.
Do you think he will go back though, regardless? He doesn't have to fight again. He doesn't have to do anything
No, but he doesn't. But someone like Conor he's addicted to making money. And he's also, we've spoke about it a bunch of times on this podcast, and I've spoke about it with footballers like Jimmy Bullard, for example. When you're on that fucking stage and everyone's turning up to watch you play and everyone's singing your names and everyone's talking about you and fucking the celebrities are queuing up to shake your hand, that's got to feel good. Yeah. It's got to feel good. And that's why people make these comebacks. It's why people can't stop, because it's why people don't retire early enough at whatever sport a lot of the time, because you don't want to go out on top, because you want one more fucking day living like a king. Yeah, that's ultimately what you're dealing with.
Stay long enough to ruin your legacy ultimately.
Yeah, but Conor, I think, will want it because he wants to keep churning out that cheddar.
And are any just to finish on this, any other say he does okay against Mayweather? Let's not even talk about if he knocks him out, because that's another different hour-long conversation.
I would love that.
There is something about in me that would like to see it,
but it'd be so good.
It would be tough because I kind of feel aligned to boxing now, and I've watched UFC, but I kind of the violence is almost too much for me.
We should watch that together, by the way.
Yeah, let's do it. It's only £20 now. I thought it was
I know,
7.
yeah,
Not too
I remember
bad.
that.
All right, so Virgil Van Dijk situation. So he's as it stands, he's handed in a transfer request. The club said they only want players who are committed to Southampton. He claims the club forced him to train on his own. Then released stories that they said that it was he demanded to train on his own, and then he said that it was actually Southampton forced me to do it because of the previous request that to be 100% committed to the football club. Is that saying, well, look, I'm not 100% committed to it because I feel like I need a new challenge.
Right.
So it's apparently there've been offers rejected from big clubs that he'd have been interested in going, and now it looks like multiple clubs are in for him as well. So where are you at with? It's kind of like player power, isn't it? And club power, and where do you think the power should be in this situation? Because he signed a contract with Southampton.
Yeah.
The theory of a contract is you honour it.
Yeah.
But by the same token, a club would happily shift on a player who they deem is not good enough. Yeah. But in that instance, the player does get a loyalty bonus because he hasn't requested a move. So where are you at, Brett?
I think it's like most of these things, it's quite tough. I think that there's something about the circle of life here, though, and the food chain, because Southampton are pissed off because bigger clubs want a player that they've made look good, and that's been successful in their system. But Southampton, where do they get these players from? They go and offer the other teams a chance of Premier League football and a chance to come and play in a team. And actually, part of their selling power is the fact that look at all these players that we've taken from here and then sold on to a bigger club. Yeah. So Southampton must be cognizant of the fact that they are a stepping stone for people wanting to come and get into the Premier League, and people that need to get proven in that league. People like Adam Lallana that they had playing when they were in League 2 or League League One, right? Yeah. Have come on and got into the Premier League, done well in the Premier League, and then gone on to Liverpool and then gone on to England. That is a reason why they're able to go and poach someone from someone like Huddersfield or someone like Barnsley or someone like Celtic.
Celtic must hate Southampton as much as Southampton hate Liverpool.
Exactly. So it's the food chain. So it's the game. It's the game. It's just like any business. I just think you can't take that personal. That's the fucking game. Do you know what I mean?
I think one thing that Southampton are taking personal is their relationship or lack of relationship with Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool were accused of tapping them up.
It's almost got it's almost not even funny anymore, is it? It's like seriously, Liverpool. You need to. It's like they've just got one scout. Do you know what I mean? Who lives by the coast.
There's this big thing about Liverpool and the Liverpool fans accusing Spurs fans of just not having a scouting team and just seeing what Liverpool do and then try and buy their players.
Right.
So yeah, they've already been kind of slapped on the wrists unofficially based on their need to try and buy Van Dijk. He came out and said that they had to apologise because Southampton said, look, we're going to report you. We know that you've spoken to our player without permission. Right. We're going to report you. And Liverpool pulled out the race to sign him and said apologies, whatever it was, their statement that said.
Apologies, okay, fine. And then just started texting him.
Yeah. Just don't worry, this isn't real. Yeah. This isn't a real apology. Yeah. Okay.
We do want you. We want you bad.
We're going to get you at the end of the summer. Yeah. This will blow over.
You're a saint.
And ultimately this is what happened. But the fact is because of the way this situation is, Southampton don't have to accept the offer from Liverpool at all. Okay. They can accept the offer from Chelsea, Arsenal, whoever else wants him.
Do Liverpool fans want him? Is he good? Is he a top player?
So I tweeted that.
Probably abusive if it's something you tweeted.
It wasn't actually, it was just a question.
Okay. Not just like a drunken.
No, I'd had one or two. Okay. Well, it wasn't nothing big.
Did it include the word cons?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's a good tweet for you. Well done.
Yeah, I felt good about
Social media policy is paying off.
It was essentially just saying, look, if Van Dijk is is available, Spurs should buy him. Imagine a back line, back three of Van Dijk, Vertonghen and Alderweireld. I mean, it's got to be the sexiest back line in football, isn't it?
It's good.
And
line.
but then the reaction from Spurs fans is saying, no, he's overrated. He's well overrated. £60 million is an insane amount of money to pay for him. In my head, he isn't overrated. I think that would be a fantastic signing for Liverpool. £60 million isn't a crazy amount to pay for him, but then everyone's spending insane money at the moment.
Well, the thing is, again, with that, like, I'm not sure how I feel about these numbers, and everyone's oh god, it's football gone mad, and it's like the first point you say that is the TV rights, because every time the TV rights goes up, the cake grows. So actually, Kyle Walker at 60 million is probably akin to when so and so cost 20 million, and that seemed mad at the time. It's because the cake keeps growing. That's what it is. The amount of money that comes in via broadcast, both from domestic and foreign providers, is mental. But it's also a case of that. I think that bubble might burst a little bit.
What's I'm saying? If the cake keeps growing, eventually the table breaks.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's very good, and it will do, because the models that Sky and BT have got, that whole model about, okay, we get these rights, we put these rights on a secure platform that you have to pay to access that secure platform, that's under threat. Technology's meant that people are getting Norwegian telly and whatever streams and kind of circumnavigating the paywall, but equally, people's habits are changing. People aren't wanting to sit and watch 90 minutes of football like they used to do. A lot of young people don't. I remember when I was a kid, you'd sit and watch 5 days of test match cricket and you were fucking delighted for it. Even if it rained, you'd watch. You know what I'm saying? When you were a student and that. Nowadays, you just don't have the time for that, because life's got a lot more complicated. We've got a lot more choice, a lot more things to do, information overload. So people's habits are different now. They just take these little small highlight here, a gift there, that's what they kind of want, right? So, and it's on demand. You just do it when you want to access it rather than when it's live. So the whole consumption's changed to the point now where these viewing figures are going down. It's going down in the NFL, it's going down on ESPN, it's going down both sides of the Atlantic, because people's consumption habits are changing. Now, the next level of rights, I think Sky and BT are going to have maxed out their limits, because the amount they're paying for these rights versus the reward that they're getting in terms of people aren't paying their subscriptions as much. I mean, 10 years ago, I pulled out of Sky and they were like, didn't bat an eyelid. They're like, yeah, you'll be back, mate. Oh yeah, we'll see you at the start of the footy season, no problem. That's what they were like.
Stag.
Now, I pulled out of Sky last year when I was moving. They were like literally following, excuse me, Mr. Wilson, please reconsider this. We half price. We'll do it for half price for 12 months. You know, it's changed.
So they were right the first time.
That's because they're losing audience, right? They might have 10 years ago, because it was everybody was on it.
They saw the behaviour of the
everyone's on it, but it's changing now. So, and also the digital advertising, social media advertising is kind of growing as well. So I think that the ROI on your halftime ad in the football, you're not getting the audience. And what are you doing when the football's on at halftime? You're on your phone. Dick pics. Do you know what I mean? But
I'll charge.
And you exactly.
So
that's how you know what I mean, pay for this, isn't it? Really.
Yes.
But the so the whole game's changed in that regard. So I think that, because I did a panel on this the other day actually, so I'll talk on it now, because we were looking at what's next. And when you think about technology like VR that's starting to happen, and then you look at the types of companies that might be able to buy those rights and pay the amounts of fees that the Premier League clubs or football needs to continue, it's going to be companies like Amazon, it's going to be companies like Facebook, people it's people like Google that have got an audience that they can monetize, but also that have got the kind of capital where they could go away and pay rights like that, but also that are global businesses, so they can kind of activate in all these places, but the ones that are also have invested in VR, because if you think about it, this is the next phase. So right now, where the Premier League makes its money, it sells rights to the UK, Sky, BT to show it. Then they do some radio stuff, which is kind of small change. But really where they make their money is selling that product to around the world, to bigger markets where there's bigger populations, like the States, but China in particular, right? People are obsessed in China. So if you then start to provide VR, which they're all investing in VR, so you can wear your headsets, the experience then that they can provide to these fans around the world is for them to be sitting at the game with their mates. You can't. It's not like Huddersfield where I can't get a ticket with my uncle or my cousin, right? You can be like, cause you pay in, you're sitting next to me, we're having a great time. Here we are, we're all sitting in our bedroom, but we've got our VR headsets on. And then what they're going to be able to do is, because they're tuned into advertisers, and they've got data, which is a key part of it, they'll then be able to serve. So Flav, what you're seeing, you get different adverts to me, because they know that you in particular love buying leather pants. You've been on leather pants websites all week, so then you're going to get leather waterproof, piss-proof pants. Yeah, exactly. And what I'm going to get is, I'm probably going to get stuff from, I'm going to get nappies for babies or things like that, because I've got a baby.
All right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So that's where it's going. So I think that whole thing is quite interesting moving forward.
That's fascinating, and I was thinking to myself, like when you were saying that about the VR, I was like, no, I'm not going to want to go. I'm not going to want to put a VR set on to watch my team play football. But then I realised I'm not the target audience. It's the people out there who want that match day experience, or the fan. Yeah,
because they can only get so much cash out of you, you know, and you're going to go and you're going to pay and you're going to go to the game. But if they can, it's hard to scale that audience, because only so many people can get to White Hart Lane or whatever it is, and you've only got 50, 60,000 tickets. So unless you keep pushing the ticket price up, how can you grow that revenue? Where you grow it is by all these people at the far side of the world, these millions of people that you can then become a Tottenham fan and can go and sit down in this virtual stadium.
Yeah,
so
I see it.
It is. So I don't know. I think there might be a bit of a dip where that market might burst a little bit, and it depends where VR is in terms of that becoming again something that's at scale, because now people don't have the headset. Do we even know anyone that's got a headset? I don't know if we do. So you need to have a scale of people that have got that hardware to then be able to kind of connect to the
still
game.
Quite expensive is all, but I think it will come down as with all technology, and if it does, we'll see that happen, I guess. Definitely. So what you're saying essentially is Sky Sports, BT will always, or a variant of them will always be around, but then there's going to be an additional set of sponsors or stakeholders or whatever that have a vested interest.
I just think
so. The money's not necessarily going to disappear; it just come from different avenues.
It'll come from different avenues, but there might be a bit where I think it might dip, because I think that, like, I'm looking at Sky and BT now, and I'm not sure that they've got the nerve to keep going at it like this, because the world's changing. And look, I'm not sitting here saying TV's dead. That I'd be mad to say that, but TV as we knew it is dead.
Yeah, I get you.
And you know, so there needs to be some. There's going to be some changes.
If you like that chat, that business stuff, Matt has his own channel, Matt World.
I do.
Go and subscribe to it now, because there's plenty of stuff like that, isn't there?
There's little bits and pieces like that, and a bit on Huddersfield, which you might like or not, but there's business and stuff like that too. So check it out.
Go and subscribe at Matt World with no zero in.
Put a link in actually, Will.
Yeah, we'll put. Stick a link in now, Will.
Will's not listening. Oh, he is listening.
No, he's not. Put a link into the chat for Matt World.
If he's not listening to us on them earphones, what is he listening to? Is he just listening to like podcast, an audio book?
The start of this podcast, we were impressed with you.
What's happened?
Where do you think we are thinking about your place?
What are you listening to?
What?
Going down the rankings.
You are going down the rankings. You're like the power.
And now he's being cocky about it.
Yeah. Oh, look at him.
He'll fit in well. He'll do well here.
He will. Adam, that was Adam's shtick about being cocky, and he's done fantastic since coming here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're well behind here. So I think we've got two final questions.
Shall we hot step it?
Hot step it. Mattios, we've got some questions from Twitter. Follow us on @TheLongBallStreet Twitter and @BallStreet Twitter. Here's a question from Mattios UK _LP. Says, would you be opposed to a Super League with PSG, Barca, Real Madrid, Juve and Bayern if it does become a thing? So this is, say, the top 3 teams in each league, or top 16
is this getting
teams in Europe.
spoken about now?
It's kind of. I heard about this when I was at school, in primary school.
Yeah.
Having the Super League.
Right.
That was before the Premier League even was founded. So it's been kind of mooted for a long time.
Yeah.
I think obviously with the teams, they realise that while there may not be as much money domestically, there may be huge amounts of money in this Super League that involves 6 teams at the top. Yeah. I've got 2 very quick points on it. I don't want Tottenham to be a part of it.
Good.
And I wouldn't care less if 2 of the biggest teams in England went and joined it. They could go. Yeah. That's how I feel. Yeah. About it, really. Yeah. What would you like to see it?
No, I wouldn't like to see it. I did feel a while ago that it was somewhat of an inevitability, But I don't know why they can't. It sounds like the fucking Champions League, really. Apart from they've got all these shit teams in the Champions League, you know. So I don't. Yeah, it might well happen, but fuck them if it does. Like I really mean that. Yeah.
We kind of deal with it already, but Jamie. 2080 Jamie, he says, is Matt upset that everyone is predicting Huddersfield will get battered every week and finish 20th? This is something you talked about, just to add a caveat to that. This is something Matt talked about at the beginning last season, when it seemed like there was a good chance that Huddersfield were going up, that people's opinions to you change and the way they view a club, and is it irritating and has it bothered you at all yet?
No. Look, I expect that. Of course I expect that. People don't know anything about us. They don't know anything about Wagner. They look at us getting through the playoffs without Scott, on penalties. They look at us scoring, having a minus goal difference. They don't really know us and what happened. So I think I expect that, and actually I quite enjoy that. I think we've been under the radar all last season, and if we're going into this Palace game and they think all they've got to do is turn up to win, awesome.
Yeah, because then you underestimate, don't you?
And as we know, never underestimate your opponent.
No.
Right,
excuse me. Jay, and this is part of the reason why
I'll read this one.
Yeah, this
is Flav, Jay, whose Twitter is @NUFC_J17. Is Flav ready for another 5-1 smashing on Sunday?
Absolutely not. If that happened, I would be crushed. Yeah. I can't tell you how bad I felt after that game. We were going to finish above Arsenal for the first time in 24 years, whatever it was. All we have to do is, I think all we needed was a draw against Newcastle, and they absolutely pumped us completely. And no, I'm not ready for that. But this is part of the reason why I hate Newcastle fans, because the way they kind of
laughed about that.
They laughed about that, but they're a massive club, and they're a massive club that goes down often, so I don't know where their confidence comes from. I get dug out a lot by Newcastle fans, and I don't understand why, other than the fact that they pumped us when we should. So I'm not ready at all, Jay. But if it was,
it's not going to happen this time, is it? Is the game at Newcastle?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. God, man, do you know what? I never really watched Premier League. Never. Obviously, this season I'm going to be watching it. I used to catch the odd game because I'm a workaholic, and I have other things that I watch the NFL. That's my little, and I watch the UFC.
Yeah.
So those are the things that take up my viewing. But this season, just because we're in it, and because now it's my league, I'm going to watch the Premier League. But it's going to be so hard because it's on all the bloody time.
You do become such a...
watch it.
I can't, unless I've got to watch stuff for work. I watch stuff for work and whatnot, but by and large, for entertainment and enjoyment, I'll only watch Tottenham because it is too much.
Yeah, but I'd like to watch Newcastle Spurs. I'd like to watch that game.
We've got no right backs. Right, we've sold Walker. Trippier's now injured.
Yeah.
We've got Carl Walker-Peters.
I thought he was decent.
Yeah, he is, but he's a child.
How old is he?
18, 19.
I love him already.
But he's tiny. He's a small 19, 18-year-old.
He's even better.
Yeah, but he's
fucking
technically very good.
He's
just won the Under-20s World Cup with England.
Mate, I'm going to get I'm not getting Spurs.
Part of the reason why we were happy to let Walker go because he's highly rated in the football club. And if Pochettino can't get a tune out of a youth team player, then I don't know who can.
Awesome.
I like your haircut, by the way.
I don't like it.
What?
Because you remember last year when I didn't have my haircut, partly that was driven by the fact that my guy, Jay, he went back to Australia.
Not Jay Newcastle.
Not that Jay,
right.
A different Jay. He was a gay Jay, actually, an Australian gay Jay.
Yeah.
And he went back to Australia, and so I don't like, just going in and getting a cut from someone because you get bad haircuts. So there's this guy that I've been having my haircut from, and it's just not. It's not Jay. I miss Jay. All right.
I know you miss Jay. You got to let him go. I like it. I like it, Matt. Craig only tips. Craig, who usually engineers his podcast, only tips if the hairdresser doesn't speak to him. Not a word.
That sounds quite Craig.
All right then.
By the way, we're going to be doing the one for the weekend.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. We are continuing one for the weekend. This weekend through the whole of the season, where we review and preview the coming season's game.
And this is you and James, isn't it?
Me and Jimbo.
It's Flames.
Flames. We're back. We're on fire.
Can I come on this at all this season?
No,
never.
Probably not.
Why?
ruin the dynamic.
Okay.
No, of course you can. What we're going to do is we're going to fill this running order full of lots of topics. When you get through it, it's going to be fast paced, it's going to be easy watching,
I slow it
and
down,
it's going to be lots of fun. No, you're more than welcome. And ultimately, if you want on and we say no, you just say who runs this effing company,
Yeah.
and then we go, well, go on Matt Well, and you find out. How about that?
All right.
See you at the far post, Matt.
Latest potatoes.
Do you know how to stop it? Or Craig told you, good lad.